pictures coming in there, and let me bring you up to date on what's going on. Oh my goodness. All right, this is the first time that I've seen this. These are brand new pictures coming in from New Zealand now to show what appears to be, at least what these pictures reflect, as a disaster zone. This is the city of Christchurch in New Zealand. They have been walloped by a earthquake magnitude 7.0. We talked to one of the residents there a little while ago who told us that the impact and the damage is quite severe. This is from TV New Zealand. They have just now started broadcasting the pictures from there. Apparently they've just gotten to the scene, and we've got some sound now from one of the residents there in town. Let's hit that if we got it, Raj. Watching this raw.
We've got no power. We've got no water.
And we were so scared. It was terrible.
The whole, like, we had mirrors fall down, dressers fall down, you know, the whole painting fall down, the lights were just going nuts.
And where are you going to head to?
Up the hills, up as far as we can go to get away from in case there's a tsunami.
What about your house? How was that?
Pretty scary. My microwave ended up in my fish tank.
Well, it's very noisy and it moved around a lot. It shook very hard and it seemed to take a heck of a long time to stop. We Wellingtonians, we're used to earthquakes, but this was a bit much.
I was so scared. I was starting to feel like I was going to start crying.
Look at those. By the way, you heard that one woman mention there as we were looking at those pictures. I'm just going to get in my car and drive as far as I can. I'm worried about a tsunami. There were questions about tsunamis earlier, but I think that's been pretty much downgraded, right, Bonnie? And I think the reason for that is this thing hit on land, right? I mean, this
yeah, it did.
As close as it may have been to the coast, it wasn't. It was still inshore.
That's right. The epicenter was about 35 miles from the coastline and also 35 miles from Christchurch, but close enough that you can see where we were seeing the video just coming in, that it was in that strong to very strong shake zone. This is the shake map. Here's the epicenter, 7.0, and here is Christchurch just to the south of that. So this was in a highly populated area, an area with a lot of old stone structures. Usually stone structures are the best ones because they're the oldest and they stand up the strongest in an earthquake.
Right.
But remember, it doesn't take much to knock a few pieces of rubble down, and that's when we see the disintegration.
Hold on, Bonnie. Maybe you can help me with this, but we've got a neurosurgeon on the line now who's joining us there from Christchurch. I believe he's a resident in Christchurch. This is Dr. Sebastian Koga. Doctor, thanks so much for establishing contact with us, for making yourself available. First of all, I hope that you are okay and your family's okay.
I'm perfectly fine. Thank you, Rick, and good morning.
What's the situation? What are you seeing as you walk around?
I am standing in front of Christchurch Hospital, which is the major trauma center for Canterbury area in Christchurch, and I'm relieved to say that we have not had any fatalities. The emergency services have been bringing in injured people, mostly with walls or objects having fallen on them, lacerations, mild head injuries, but as I said, no fatalities. The public response has been very calm. The civil authorities here have asked the citizens to not rush to hospital unless they truly suffered severe injuries, and we hope there's no one buried under the rubble who cannot make it here, but so far we've done fine. We've probably seen 70 to 100 patients this morning. What time was it when the first impact was felt? It was around 4:40 a.m. It was a prolonged impact. It felt like it lasted for minutes on end, followed by a quick succession of 4 significant aftershocks, and those have been now spaced out in time. I just felt the 7th or 8th one while waiting on the phone here with you a few minutes ago.
Wow. Where were you when the impact was first felt, and what did you do?
I was at home sleeping. I awoke actually suddenly before the shaking began, and just stood in the doorway. My house was intact, and I immediately left for the hospital. All the lights went out. The city fell in darkness. Sirens started sounding, and I came to check on our patients and to help in the trauma bay.
what are you doing at the hospital? Are you working off of generator power at this point?
We have generator power in the emergency department and in the operating theaters. We had no power on the wards. Our neurosurgery ward had part of the ceiling collapse, and the patients were very swiftly moved together with the neurology patients. The nurses have been doing a fantastic job assessing them by flashlight, waiting for the sun to rise this morning. And as daylight broke, we saw an increased presence of air patrols and fire engines and police cars trying to assess the extent of the damage and to make sure no one is buried under rubble.
And the answer to that question really is unknown at this point, right? Because at least from what I can see in some of these pictures, it looks like there are some buildings, not all, but some buildings that were devastated.
Indeed. Christchurch is an old town, and even part of our hospital was built some years ago with different building standards, and so there's no telling now what the true extent of the damage is. As I've said, we've just had the first couple of minutes of daylight, and it's uncertain of the damage. I can say that we know the airport is closed down. There are cracks on roads. As I came here this morning, there were cracks in the road, and there have definitely been disruptions in power, phone, rail service, and so forth. So, given its Richter score, I'm still impressed by the low number of casualties, and I'm thankful for it.
Well, you know, you have a city there of about 380,000 people. As I check the numbers of your population, that's an awful lot of people. What do you do if you're one of those residents of that city and you've just experienced something like this? I've never been in an earthquake. Do you go back into a building, into your house, or is everyone standing out in the street waiting to be told what to do? What do you see?
People, particularly due to the darkness in the middle of the night, I think there was a bit of panic. People on the Pacific Rim are pretty well educated about standing in doorways and reinforced areas, and then going outside far from other buildings. Which is exactly what I did this morning. I've been through the Kobe earthquake in Japan, which was, of course, a greater magnitude but much higher devastation. New Zealand doesn't have quite the same urban level of urbanization, and there are not too many very high structures in the city. And so I'm hopeful the victims will be few. There's certainly many people without a home. The junior doctor, the house officer helping me this morning, turned up to work and said, I'm here to help you with the patients. And about the 10th patient later, suturing everybody up cheerfully, he said, by the way, I've lost my house and I have no roof, and here I am at work.
Jeez.
And so the attitude is pretty impressive.
Dr. Koga, that is impressive, and it's impressive for you to be able to come on and tell us your story. And you know, you know, kudos to you too, sir, because we know that you, as you described, 4 o'clock in the morning, you were awakened. Rather than dealing with your own situation, you immediately put on your clothes and ran to the hospital to see what you can do to help your patients and anybody else who might be coming in as a trauma victim. And that's, you know, that's a real sign of somebody who oftentimes is more apt to consider other people's needs than their own, and we congratulate you for that. Dr. Sebastian Koga, one of many people who we've been in touch with. Because we use social media, I have been in contact during commercial, and my team in the control room is contacting folks there in New Zealand who have been twittering to us now for the better part of the last hour about what they're experiencing, what they can share with us. We're contacting them and moving back and forth the information. So we're just glad that we're able to use this tool to cover this story for you. We'll share more of this story as well as what's going on with Earl